And welcome everyone here to our Bleacher Report app. I'm Andy Katz. We're going to discuss the top 10 freshmen in men's college basketball here in 2024 as we turn the calendar. Conference play across the country in all major conferences, all 32 conferences. We had games in December, but now we want to talk about the freshmen who are having an impact. And things have changed in men's college basketball because of the transfer portal, the COVID year. Those are two major factors that we're not seeing as much impact from freshmen on a lot of these high-profile teams, but they're still there, and they're still having major contributions to a number of these teams. Before we get to my top 10, I think it's important to recognize a few names, a couple of guys that actually have had some injuries or illness that I do think they would move up higher if they were 100% healthy. So we're going to call these my sort of honorable mentions right now, one of which is Malik Mack, who's been a big-time player for Harvard. He's currently out with mono, has not played since December 8th, but prior to that, he's averaging 20 points, 4 assists, and 4 boards. Now, Harvard, not the best team in the Ivy. That's Princeton and Yale. But Mack is certainly one of the best freshmen in the country, a great find for Tommy Amaker. Another player that fits this is Stephen Castle at UConn. Was hurt early in the season, is now back with the Huskies, averaging 8 and 4, has the potential literally to be the number 1 draft pick in this draft. I think for sure he'll be somewhere in the top 5. UConn has played well without him. They need him now to step up even more. Different position than Donovan Clingan, obviously, but production from everyone's going to be needed without Clingan, who's out at least for the next few weeks with a foot injury. So Stephen Castle, I think there's a good chance he will be in the top 10 at season's end. Other two names that just didn't make the cut, but I think are having significant impact this season. JT Toppin from New Mexico has been a great surprise for the Lobos, for Richard Pitino. New Mexico taking on Colorado State in a Mountain West Conference showdown on Tuesday night in Fort Collins, that being tonight as we're taping. He's averaging 12 and 7. He's going to have a major role for the Lobos if they are to win the Mountain West Conference. And then Carlton Carrington from Pitt, early in the season, triple-double, had some great games for the Panthers, averaging overall 14 and 5. Arguably one of the best freshmen in the ACC, and will be in contention for ACC Freshman of the Year. There is another freshman we're going to mention here in the ACC that right now has the edge for Freshman of the Year. We'll see if he can hold off Carrington from Pitt. And look, winning matters. Pitt just lost to Syracuse. We'll see if they can get back to the NCAA tournament where they won a couple of games last season. So let's go to number 10 on my list. And hey, yes, didn't have to wait long for this other ACC player. His name is Jared McCain from Duke, overall averaging 11 and 4. McCain has had multiple 20-plus games, one high-profile one against Baylor in Madison Square Garden right before Christmas, after against Queens. Jared McCain has emerged, especially with Tyrese Proctor out, as the lead guard in terms of productivity. Jeremy Roach obviously experienced, Caleb Foster, but McCain has been the best scorer. He's not the best playmaker. It's not his role, but he's been the best scorer on the perimeter right now for the Duke Blue Devils. We'll see if that continues as they restart the ACC. At number 9, one of many Kentucky players, a familiar name. I didn't cover his grandfather, Milt, but I certainly covered his father, Dwan, and that's DJ Wagner from Kentucky. His father played for John Calipari at Memphis, and now DJ Wagner, 11 points, 3 assists, has been a solid contributor for Kentucky. This is a very, very talented backcourt for the Wildcats, and he is one of many freshmen potentially on this list from Kentucky. Let's stay in the SEC, at number 8, Aiden Holloway from Auburn, yet another quality guard for Bruce Pearl. He's averaging 11 and 3 assists. He is a competent playmaker. I think he's just going to have an outstanding SEC season for the Tigers, who are scoring much better this season than they did a year ago. At number 7, this player has been hurt at times, but now is expected to be back this week. And that is Cody Williams from Colorado. 14 points, 3 boards, and Cody, team him up with KJ Simpson, and the Buffaloes are arguably one of the top 2 teams in the Pac-12. They have a monster game against Arizona this week in Tucson. With the way Arizona's struggling, there's no reason that Colorado can't win the big Pac-12. So we'll see. Let's go back to the SEC. Mississippi State's Josh Hubbard, 14 and 2 right now. Hubbard has been, for Chris Jans, an outstanding playmaker, someone who is contributing, especially when Tolu Smith was out, their big man, and the Bulldogs were winning games. A couple of odd losses in there, but Mississippi State looks like a tournament team, looks like a team that's going to finish somewhere in that top half of the SEC, and Hubbard is a big reason why. At number 5, let's go back to the Pac-12, and Jackson Shellstat from Oregon. He had an outstanding weekend in the Ducks' sweep of the LA schools, UCLA and USC. The number he's wearing, if I'm not mistaken, was Peyton Pritchard's number at Oregon. Big Peyton Pritchard disciple. And we'll see if he ends up being a 4-year guy like Pritchard. But Shellstat is a great find for Dana Altman. And certainly, as the Ducks move into the Big Ten, he'll become one of the best lead guards next season, assuming he stays. You never assume with anyone in the Big Ten. But this season, he'll be a prime reason why Oregon, I think, will ultimately make the NCAA tournament. At number 4, another player who could ultimately be the number 1 draft pick. And right now he probably is over a Castle and others, and that's Isaiah Collier from USC. Now, Collier lately has not put up great numbers. He's averaging 15 and 4, but he's not doing that in the last few games. USC has been struggling. They got swept in Oregon by Oregon State and Oregon. Real rough weekend for the Trojans. They're on the outside looking in terms of an NCAA tournament team right now. Bronny James had his best game of the season in the loss to Oregon State. Obviously, Bronny James is just playing right now, coming back from the cardiac arrest, just being declared healthy enough to play. So way premature to put him on any list, put any kind of pressure on him. But look, Collier with Boogie Ellis, with potentially Bronny James, they've got to step up their play if USC is going to make the tournament. So now let's enter our top 3. I had a chance to watch this player in New York at Madison Square Garden. Jacoby Walter from Baylor, outstanding freshman. Yet again, Scott Drew has an elite high flyer wing who can do a little bit of everything, averaging 15 and 3 right now. Just a really entertaining player that I think is going to end up being, based on my list, I think he'll be the Big 12 Freshman of the Year, and certainly will be a major factor of the Baylor Bears, advancing in the NCAA tournament. Now we'll get to our top 2. Yes, from the same school, same league, and again, showing the depth of the freshman class in the SEC. At number 2, Reed Sheppard. At number 1, Robert Dillingham. So Sheppard, 12, 4, and 4. Dillingham, 14, 4. That's 4 assists. Sheppard, an outstanding 3-point shooter for Calipari. Dillingham doing a little bit of everything on the perimeter. You never know with these freshmen, but think about the elite freshmen that Kentucky has right now with Dillingham, Sheppard, and Wagner. They got freshman bigs as well, but and you think back to 2012 when they won the national championship with a freshman-led team led by Anthony Davis. Could they do it again? Well, they're certainly playing like a Final Four contender, national title contender. But the question, of course, is are they going to get consistent post play? We don't know that yet. Antonio Reeves, cannot forget about him. He's not a freshman, but he's an experienced player that gives them that experience that they desperately need at times, both on and off the court. So, I think this is a good list. Andre, okay, you maybe joined us late. I talked about Stephen Castle. I will repeat this. I believe he will be on this list by season's end. Okay. The numbers aren't there yet, but he was hurt. So let's give him time. It is the first week of January. We've got 18 more Big East games. So, hold on. Okay. A Florida fan about Condon Ha, go Gators again. There's no question that Florida has had a good start this season. We'll see if their freshmen can carry them. Brian Schultz says, love the Carrington shout out from a non-Pitt fan. Ndongo, yes, from Georgia Tech, 3-time ACC Freshman of the Week. Certainly could have been on there as well. I'm looking, winning matters. And you could argue back at me, okay, why is USC on here? That's a fair criticism. Collier's numbers early were really good when they were playing well. So I'm looking at body of work here. And Greg, that's fine to say he's too high. Hayden says, is there a chance Bronny could make this list or honorable mention? Yes, there's certainly a chance. C. Green says, thoughts on Elliott Cadeau? Yeah, he could be there. RJ Davis, is overshadowing him right now. There's a vote from Bruton to say Holloway should be higher. VC Solo says, I love how the top two players are bench players. Well, remember, this is a freshman list. This is not an All-American list. And Izzo we trust is, where's Cohen Carr? Well, Cohen Carr is a high flyer. He's making some contributions, but I wouldn't put him right now as the top 10. Remember, this is not a draft list. Let's keep that in mind. Vandalay says Reed is the most efficient freshman player in the country. I think there's a lot of truth in that. So I think there's, okay, Rick Will, again, you joined us late about why there's no Mac from Harvard. He's got mono right now. He's out indefinitely. We don't know if he's coming back this season. Mono's a tricky deal. You have to be very cautious on any contact sports because of your spleen. So I can't put him on this list not knowing if he's going to play this season. So that's the answer to that, Rick Will. So you can LOL me all you want. I'm dealing with the facts. The facts are he is not playing, has not played since December 8th because he got an illness. So if he comes back, great, and keeps these numbers up, yes, he's for sure on this list. And Dallin Ford, thanks for strengthening my point. They may be bench players, but it's not about stats. Watch when they score, where they finish the game. Great point. Thank you, Dallin Ford. All good points as well. Who's this from? This is from Bus. How is Jackson Shellstead not higher? Could I flip them with Collier? Sure. Again, Oregon's just playing well now. And Walter played well consistently even during the Baylor losses. So I think this is all fair criticism. We could all put together different lists. And that's why I wanted to include the honorable mentions of JT Toppin, Carrington, Stephen Castle, and Mack, because all four of them, Toppin and Carrington certainly could have been on this list. Someone would have to come off. And Castle and Mack, I fully expect Castle, if he continues to be more productive, and if Mack comes back healthy, of course, he's got the numbers. That's why I pointed it out. So this is a working list. It is January 2nd. We'll see how everything plays out in the coming weeks and months. All right, a little house cleaning here for you. We're going to have a top 25 reaction on Monday on the Bleacher Report app, 1 o'clock Eastern time when the AP Top 25 drops. On Tuesday on NCAA.com, March Madness, MBB. We're going to have our next bracket because college football will end Monday night. Washington versus Michigan, if you missed it. And then every Monday, we'll have these top 25 reactions. As always, you can go to the Bleacher Report app. You can go to ncaa.com. You can go to March Madness MBB, or you can follow me at the Andy Katz on X Twitter, as you see it there, on Instagram at the real Andy Katz. As always, I appreciate the engagement, and we love that you guys are following along. You come right back at me. That's all good. I love the opinions, both pros and cons, but also context matters. And I think the stuff with Castle and I think with Mac, I think are all very important. Rick Will, you may disagree with me, but the reality is Malik Mack's an outstanding player, but he's got mono right now, and we don't know when he's coming back. So this is a fluid list, okay? It's a fluid list, and I'm dealing with the moment right now. Appreciate it, everyone, and all the engagement, as I said. Have a great week. There's plenty of great games beginning Tuesday night in major conferences. It's going to run through the weekend, and the next 2 months are going to be pretty intriguing as we work our way toward March. Plenty of action on this app, plenty of engagement. Let's have this conversation back and forth. Love it. Appreciate y'all, and we will talk soon.